All right, this is Tyler Scott, Sports Information Director here at the University of St. Mary. Today, talking with former football player at St. Mary, Drew Cortez, who played for the Spires from 2015 to 2019 after coming from St. Joseph, Missouri. Drew, dive into the first question here. Just talk about your time as a student athlete at the University of St. Mary and attending all 4 years.
Yeah, so that was one of the biggest things that I kind of wanted to emphasize on whenever I came into college was staying for 4 years. There's a lot of JUCO guys that we recruited, but I remember whenever Coach Osborne and Coach Swank, they actually when they recruited me, they made it clear that they wanted a guy, a quarterback that's been there, is going to be there for 4 years. So that was one of the things that I kind of wanted to fulfill my promise on was staying for 4 years at St. Mary. Um, I had offers from a couple other NAIA schools, and there was something about St. Mary that I really liked. They told me I was going to play right away as a freshman, which was pretty scary at first. Coming in as an 18-year-old kid, playing with a bunch of 22, 23, 24-year-olds. But no, it was a blast. I had a lot of great memories, made a lot of good friends. Friends are going to be in my wedding for this year, so I still talk to a lot of those guys. But just the memories that I had playing football and getting to meet a lot of guys from around the country, it was just a blessing for me. I was able just to just play football, and that was my main goal. Just I wanted to play football. It didn't really matter where I was playing at. I just wanted to play good quality football, and St. Mary allowed me to do that.
Gotcha. And then I'm not sure if you're aware, but you also own the records for most career passing yards and passing touchdowns. Talk about what that accomplishment to you, and can you think back to the game, the specific game, and what was going through your mind when you set those records?
Yeah, so I think that the game was Southwestern on senior day in 2018. And I knew I was close to it because I think Coach O and I and Coach Fritz would talk about it a little bit. But whenever it happened, I remember Mr. Zimmerman, he actually made the announcement during the game, and it was kind of shocking because I didn't think I was that I was that close to 10,000. I thought it may take another game or two. But yeah, I mean, I was gifted with a lot of great receivers, guys that I can just get the ball to. They're going to make plays for me. But I was just put in a great position to be able to make some of those throws and make some of those plays. Coach O and Coach Fritz did a great job putting me in that position to have a lot of plays like that. So yeah, I mean, it's quite an honor. But I think the most important thing is here in 30, 40 years, I'm going to still remember those guys that helped me get there rather than the actual record that I have. So like I said, I think those memories that I have with the guys and playing with a lot of those guys and having those friendships, I think that'll last a lot longer than a couple records. So.
As you were inching up towards that 10,000 mark, did it just kind of seem easy to not even really think about it, or did you feel like any pressure at all?
I'm not really too big on getting a lot of records. I think wins and losses mattered a lot more to me than holding a record. But yeah, I mean, I just think that I didn't try to force a lot of things. There were times where some people would ask me, "Hey, you ready to break those records? Are you trying to break those records?" When in all reality, I just wanted to go out and win the game. I just want to go out there and play, have fun. And just have guys around me to help me make some of those plays. But like I said, man, I was blessed to have a lot of those guys to help me make those plays and to make it look really, and then you look really good too. I would throw a quick out route and they'd take it, 60, 70 yards. And so I really wouldn't do a lot of the work. They did a lot of the work for me. So yeah, I mean, it was a blessing to have. But I really tried not to focus on it because I think if I try to focus on it too much, then I would try to force it, and it would just not be very good. But yeah, I mean, it is a pretty cool honor to have. My name will be in the record books, but like I said, I think those guys that did it, with me should just have as much recognition as I do. So.
Yeah. Would you say that that's your favorite memory while playing, or is there another one that kind of sticks out to you?
Man, I honestly think, I was talking to a couple guys this past week and we were talking about what would our, if we were mic'd up before practice or if we were mic'd up, in the locker room, how much fun people would have just sitting and listening to us, just mess around or joke around or stuff like that. So I think it's just a matter of an accumulation of, before practice stretches or after practice stretches or just hanging out before a game on a Saturday morning, going to eat breakfast or whatever. I think just accumulation of those things. would be probably my favorite kind of experience and my memory at St. Mary. Like I said, I never really expected to make that many friends and have that many relationships from St. Mary, but a lot of guys were in the same situation as I were. I hung out with JUCO guys, hung out with 4-year guys. A lot of the guys that I came in with left, so I think whenever I was a senior, there were only about I think like 12 guys that were still there from the original 2015 signing class, and so a lot of us we stuck together and just hung out and just went out to eat and just hung out together and just made it a great time. So I think my favorite memory, I really can't pick one. I think it's just an accumulation of, hanging out together before practice, after practice, even though practice sucked and nobody likes practice. I think just we made it fun. And we made it, we were able to cope throughout practice just by hanging out with each other and messing around and stuff like that. So.
Nice. Is there anything you learned and took away from playing football at St. Mary that you try to incorporate in your life now?
Yeah, so actually right now, I think this will answer the next question too, but right now, so I'm a football coach for Lafayette High School in St. Joe. I take some of the philosophies that I learned from, Coach O or Coach Fritz or Coach Swank or Brooks, really anybody that was involved with the St. Mary's staff. I kind of took and choose what I wanted to from these different philosophies and, what everybody else said. And I kind of listened to everything. And I try to fit it to my own philosophy. So I think one of the bigger things I've chosen is just different coaching strategies, different coaching philosophies. What I want to do, what I don't want to do, and try to mold it to my own. So I kind of pick and choose a lot of things and try to fit it to my own philosophy. So really, I mean, there's more than there's a multitude of stuff that I've taken from St. Mary. As a player, I think I took more from a coach than I have from actually playing the game of football. So. I think it's just a plethora of being around different coaches and being around different players too, and different just backgrounds and just the diversity of people that I was around. It really helped me out for whenever I started coaching.
Gotcha. What position are you coaching at Lafayette?
So right now I'm quarterbacks and pass game coordinator. So I deal with a lot of the pass game and help our offense out as much as I can. I also coach our quarterbacks. We had a quarterback last year. He's going to South Dakota State. He was a very, very good athlete last year, and we have another kid coming up that's pretty darn good. So, just trying to help out Lafayette as much as I can with my knowledge of the game of football, trying to just help our passing game out, trying to help our offense out, trying to put as much points on the board as possible. So, just trying to use what I can to help them out and help our players out and just try to be successful.
How did the team do this year?
So this past year we went 5-6. Not as good as we wanted to be. Got knocked out of the first round of the playoffs. And it wasn't because of lack of talent. I think it was a little bit, of guys trying to do their own thing and stuff like that. But we had a lot of great athletes last year. A lot of guys who could go play college football still. And this next year, I think we're pretty excited for the guys we have right now. We have a lot of young guys who played last year that are coming into, upperclassmen roles. They can be really good leaders and be very, very good football players.
Gotcha. Does your so back in St. Joe's, does your name kind of like reverberate at all from your time at St. Mary and like just kind of the success you had there to kind of like bounce back to St. Joe's?
I honestly think a lot of it still stems from the high school level. I don't want to talk about myself, but I think I had some records from passing game wise in the city of St. Joe. And so I think it still kind of gets around through that, but I also think it gets around from St. Mary as well. I don't know how much people know about St. Mary from St. Joe, but people who kind of pay attention to my career and everything like that, I think they kind of have an idea of you kind of know the process that I had with St. Mary and through Lafayette as well. So, yeah, I mean, I think that people still kind of my name gets thrown around a little bit. I'm still 23 years old, so I'm still pretty young too. So I think a lot of people who, or a lot of kids that I'm coaching in high school, I played with their brothers or I went to school with their sisters or their cousins or stuff like that. So I think it's still a matter of, people still kind of know who I am just because I'm so young too. And I didn't graduate high school too long ago. So, I think it's just a matter of everything. St. Joe's a fairly small town. Everybody really knows everybody. So I think it's a matter of that too. There's a lot of different factors that factor into that. But, yeah, I mean, I think it does still get around a little bit here in St. Joe. So.
So you're coaching at Lafayette. Is that kind of what you steer towards in your career future wise?
Yeah, so I was a credit recovery teacher last year at Lafayette. Helped kids kind of get their credits back if they failed a class last year, or if they want to get extra credit for college. So I taught that class last year. I coached. I did special teams. I did linebackers, quarterbacks, passing game. But yeah, I mean, my main goal is to be a head coach down the road. Whenever that is, God willing, willing to me let that happen. So I think hopefully my goal here in the next, 5 or so years is to become a head coach, either here in St. Joe or if I go down to Kansas City or, wherever God wants me to be. But yeah, I mean, I really have a passion for coaching. I have a passion to help out, young adults in life and in the world. And so I really do want to become a coach. I want to continue to coach. It's my passion. It's the closest thing to playing, so I still miss playing football a little bit. And so the closest thing to that is becoming a coach. So, I think I still need to fulfill my needs a little bit by coaching football. And, if God allows me to do it for another 30, 40 years, I think that's where I'm going to be at. So,
Yeah. What are your thoughts so far on, the coronavirus affecting sports down the
yeah.
road, and just how is that going to affect you on the sidelines at high school?
Yeah. So, right now we would, if this was at this time last year, we'd be actually working out on the field, having practice and stuff. But right now, the state of Missouri, they have made it to, or actually, I think it's our school district. They made it to where we can't start working out until June 12th. So June 16th. So next Tuesday. Sorry, I had my days mixed up a little bit there. But yeah, it's throwing everybody in a big loop, and I think even at the bigger levels like a Division I, Division II, I think that's affecting them more than anybody, because I think at Division I, you get players staying there the whole summer. You get guys coming in, late May, they graduate or they're done with school like on May 3rd, but they come back May 16th, May 17th, where they can start practicing again. But I think smaller colleges like St. Mary or Benedictine or all these NAIA schools around the area, I think they're going to benefit more from it because they're already used to having kids coming back in July or in August. So they're used to having to install an offense in a matter of 2 weeks. I know Kansas Wesleyan did that for a couple of years where they bring in a junior college quarterback who would get there in August and he would know the playbook by the first game in September. So I think Division I coaches who have had small college experience will really benefit from it. I think like guys like Nick Saban, I mean, they're great coaches. I think they're going to have to work a little bit harder to try to install offenses and stuff like that, just because they're so used to having guys back so early. So it's really going to see who, what kind of leadership the kids have and what kind of determination the kids have to, try to learn an offense, try to learn, schemes and stuff like that. So I really think that this coronavirus has really thrown everybody in a big funk. I mean, it's not impossible. I think you can get an offense in 2 weeks or however long you got, you get based on what the CDC says and all that stuff. But, for us, we're just going to take it, step by step and day by day and try to get workouts rolling. And hopefully by August we'll be on the field for practice. So.
Gotcha. Well, Drew, appreciate it. Always a good time catching up with you, and good luck with coaching this next year.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. It was an honor. So.
Yep. All right.
All right. Thank you.